Hey, the new Thor movie's coming out this summer, so let's make a 3D model of Mighty Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. That'd be pretty cool. You could have it just to use as an asset for a project, or 3D print it, do whatever. We're going to make it with 3D Builder, so it'll be pretty simple. In the Insert tab, if we look up here at the top, we have a custom shape tool actually. We can click on that, and there are some shapes that they give us in here that we can base our custom shape off of. We want to select cube, and for the roundness of it, by clicking on this, if we move it over to 1, we get these corners cut out of the edge of this shape, which is exactly what we need. So it looks good. I'll click the check mark for add, and here's the first part of our shape. Now the next thing that I want to do is, with this shape selected, make sure it's highlighted in blue, we can go to edit and split, and if we take the pitch of this here and switch that to 90 degrees, and it doesn't matter, you can keep both. Probably what I'm going to do is actually just keep the bottom so I can work on this left hand side over here, and then I will click split. Cuts it in half, and then doing this again, selecting split and choosing the pitch to be 90 degrees again, and this time I'll have both selected. And if I move this plane over to the left just a little bit past the edge there, get it as close as you can, then I can click split. It's going to keep both ends of this, and then if I select this part right here, this tapered down piece, then what I can do is go down here at the bottom to scale, and I can bring out the edge of this hammer a little bit here to give it kind of that more iconic shape. So it's kind of up to you how long you want that to be. You know, it's kind of your call for it. Once you have it how you like that, then you can select both pieces and then even drag this out just a little bit further if you want to. And if that looks like about right for half of the hammer, then we can select both of those pieces again, Control C, Control V to copy, and then do the rotating. And there we go. And bring it to where it is like 0. Let me try just typing 0 here for the yaw. Or not 0, let's go 180. There we go. Okay, once that one is rotated, then we can use our move tool and then bring it over to the edge of this, and then you can take a look again and see if this is the shape you like. If you need to stretch it out further or whatever, that's fine. Once I have all that done, or you can wait until the very end to do this if you want also, but I'm going to merge these pieces together on there, and that should be good for that part. Next thing we need to do, we need to put on like a cap of this hammer. So let's go to Insert, and we will find a cylinder, and we'll move the cylinder so that it's centered, and we can scale the cylinder so that it's smaller, and then by using the shift button and dragging from the corners, we can scale it down a little. Then we'll bring it up and just set it directly on the top. I think that looks good. And once I have that done, then we can We can either build from underneath or we can flip it upside down. I'm going to flip this upside down and Control D to deselect. And let's bring in another cylinder. Then this one, we'll make sure we get it centered first. Make sure everything looks appropriate on there, centered wise. It usually snaps it into place for you if you need it to. Then we can drag from the corner and bring this up and come up with a size of the handle that we think looks good. I think that will be fine, and then I can scale this up, bring up the handle to about here. And that's not too bad. Maybe make it just a hair smaller. Alright. Okay, so that looks good for the handle. If we bring in a cone and we bring this cone up to the top here and kind of do the same thing, we can center it. And then if we rotate this cone to a roll of -180, just or whatever it is, to get it upside down, then we can move this up towards the top to the edge of this shape. And anytime, like, you can select all of these with Control A and go to View and Center View, and then it kind of Control D to deselect. Alright, now what I want to do is, for this, we can scale down this so that it's, I don't know, not quite so wide, and then we can select that cone and just kind of keep getting a hold of the handle there. There we go. So maybe something about like this, just to stretch out that cone a little bit and then get it to where it's just barely kind of overlapping that handle. I think that looks good. Alright, finally, the last addition pieces here we'll add. If we go to Insert, and we can go back to Custom again, but this time, instead of bringing in a cube, we can bring in a torus. And that inner radius, what if we bring this up to maybe 15? I think that'll work, just to make that a little bit more narrow. And then we'll select Add. Bring this out here to the top a little bit. And obviously we're going to want to scale this down to where it is just barely kind of sticking outside of the handle there. Then we can also give this just a slight angle. And I think that looks pretty good. Alright, then if we move this, we can copy that, Control C, Control V to copy, and then just slide it to where it snaps over it, and we'll bring it up here, and then we'll copy both of these, Control C and Control V, bring these here, and select these four, and drag these up to about here. And again, it should snap if it's close. Once you have all those on there, you might want to select the rest of them and then just kind of move them all together Make sure maybe they're evenly spaced between the base of the handle and the bottom of the hammer right there. Alright, and then we can control D to deselect. Alright, so obviously this blue and orange here, and gray, kind of makes it look like it's made by Nerf or something. So what we can do, selecting parts of these, let's select the hammer first and go to paint, and if we find not texture, but if we go to material and there's realistic, I'll select realistic, and I like this gray color that's right here, or you can find these metals over here for this too. So there's like a titanium. I like how this silver looks, just because it kind of has that reflection on there, and you can see like where there are some kind of imperfections on the texture for it when I made that shape. So that might be something I'd go back in and try to rebuild that shape again if I tested that out early. But for what we're doing now, I think it looks pretty good. So that's done. I'm going to click apply. This base of the handle here, I can go to material for that and go to realistic. Oh, darn it. Let me go to cancel. Let me deselect everything. Okay, then click the base, and then I actually also want to make this down here be the same color, just because I do. You can make it be whatever colors and materials you want. Those are selected. Then I can go to realistic and either bronze, or I could go gold. Either way's fine. It's kind of up to you how you want that to look. Alright, so that looks good there. And actually, I'm going to deselect that. I might actually even make these rings in here be the exact same material. Alright, so select those, realistic, and then I'll have these be gold and apply also. And then finally, deselect everything, select the handle, and find texture on this one. And there are different textures that come with this, with the program. And when I have that on there, I'm moving up the coverage all the way, and then if I move this cursor over the handle, it kind of lets you paint it on there. I can click apply and then deselect, and then there we have this cool hammer. So you can kind of play around with it in a game or whatever. You could apply it to some art, things that you're working on if you want kind of a element of 3D with that. You can make it as a statue and 3D print it if you want. Whatever you want to do for that, but hopefully it's something to play around with. I know that there's better tools out there like Blender and things like that, but 3D builders, kind of fun to play around with if you want to make a fun model without the steep learning curve of some of the other programs that are available. And this might be a nice free alternative option for those of you who are using Windows out there.